Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us here today. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates and coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. Time now to talk Warrior men's basketball with head coach Todd Eisner. A couple of losses this past weekend. A close one against Northern State to lead off the weekend on Friday, 77-74. Your reaction to the Northern State game?
Yeah, I mean, it was, a really good college basketball game. Northern State's a really good team, and, we did everything that we needed to do to put ourselves in position to win through 39 minutes, and unfortunately, very similar to many other weeks that we were talking, we just didn't finish the game. And, up 74-70 with a minute 10 to go, and gave up a three, had a bad possession offensively, put them at the free throw line, and didn't get it done on our last possession. And so pretty frustrating. I mean, at the end of the day, we've had too many. We've lost 5 games at home by a combined 16 points, and throw the St. Cloud road game in there, and there's 6 games by 20 points, and there's a lot of would've and could've and should'ves too often in our conference record so far this year, and Northern was another one.
You were also down a player this weekend. Declan Dillon was not available, so you put James Kelly into the starting lineup. Yeah. He's the guest today, and he produced for you. Yeah. Talk about what you saw from James Kelly this weekend.
Well, James has brought a little different element to our team that we definitely need. We aren't very athletic, we aren't very long, and we don't rebound as well as we need to. And James brings all those elements to our program. And he started out right before Christmas having a really good weekend at Wayne State and at Augustana, and a lot of that good play is carried over to the second semester, and it was really a last minute thing. I mean, Declan actually warmed up for the game on Friday night, and that was our intention, going into about the 10-minute mark of warm-ups, and then he just, with the flu, wasn't able to go, and so, kind of a last minute situation, we had to change our starting lineup and change the matchups that we had, and I thought our guys really handled it pretty well overall.
So walk us through something like that when you have a last-minute substitution that you have to make. I mean, how many things get scrambled? How many people kind of, lose their minds a little bit during that? I mean, what is that like?
Yeah, for us, 3 of the 5 spots changed positions, and so, we had to move Owen King to the point guard position, which he plays and he's comfortable doing, but he had to do it for 30-plus minutes on both nights this past weekend. And, we've mentioned before, he's still fighting an Achilles injury that him playing a lot of minutes is not good for him. He really ends up being pretty sore. And so that was the move number 1. And then we moved Luke Martins from the 4 to the 3, and then inserted James in at the position he's comfortable playing, but he's been coming off the bench. So 3 of the 5 positions, like I said, got changed up here in the last minute. And like I said, we handled it really well overall, and just didn't do enough in the last 3 minutes of the game in particular, but in particular that last minute and 10 seconds.
What else does that do to your bench rotation and who you sub in and sub out?
Yeah, no doubt, it hurt our depth. Definitely hurt our depth. I mean, we Tyler Borowski's given us some good moments at times this year, but you're asking a freshman to play point guard against Sam Maston, who at the end of the day is probably leading to be the player of the year in the North right now, and the same thing with Saturday. I mean, he had to come in and give us some minutes at the point against Benega, who's playing as well as anybody in the league. And so tough task as a freshman to do, whether it's for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And, but it just changes up everything. James has given us a good lift off the bench, and now he has to start and moves Carson Arns into a little different role. And so, yeah, I mean, it definitely changed things up. Like I said, we handled it really well on Friday, and then I just got back from the dentist here this morning, but I think I went to the dentist on Saturday, the way the game went out. But really proud of our guys to handle Friday, and then we just didn't handle much of anything on Saturday.
Well, it was going to be a tough weekend. We knew coming into it because those were the top 2 teams in the North and really the top 2 teams in the conference overall. Yep. So Saturday, walk us through what happened on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it was we spent a lot of energy on Friday, and one of the things we're struggling with is putting 80 minutes of basketball together. Whether it's play poorly the first night, kind of wake up and make sure we don't do it again on Saturday. But more importantly, if we really play and compete on Friday, We've struggled to compete on Saturday, and that goes back to depth. It goes back a little bit to the makeup of our roster, which we've got to look at as we move forward in the recruiting process. We're not very big, we're not very physical, we're not very athletic, and so are we getting beat up a little bit at this time of the year to play at the level that we need to play back-to-back nights? And it's not new. I've been here 8 years. We play Friday and Saturdays. It's not like it just woke up this week and said, oh my God, we're not ready to play 2 nights in a row. But we didn't handle Saturday very well against a team that's really good. And a little concerned defensively. We guarded Northern really well the second half. But overall, on the weekend, we gave up 33s. And anytime you're doing that, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball, especially when you combine it with the fact that we haven't shot it very well from the 3. And so it's something that we've got to take a really hard look at here going into this weekend, a really important weekend for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's maybe secondary because you want to right the ship first, but you're on the outside looking in right now in the playoffs. But you get a chance against Augustana, one of the teams that's above you in the conference, and Wayne State. What do you look for this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, Friday's game's huge. I mean, we're a game behind Augie to be the last seed in the South to get into the tournament with 3 weeks to play. There's a lot of basketball left. I told our guys, Moorhead was the first game we played this year where at the end of the day, you've got to be humble enough to say, wow, that wasn't a good matchup for us. If we played them 5 times, I don't know if we would beat them. It's one of those where they're really good and it was a bad matchup for us. We've seen every other team in the league in person, and I don't feel that way about any other team in the league. And so to say that we have to win Friday, it's very important because it would give us a sweep of Augie. And so if there is a tie, we get the tiebreaker. So that's the value. But we've got 5 games left that we can win all of them if we play the way we're capable of playing. It's just we haven't done that enough. And so, we got to be realistic with things. Are we going to win our last 6 games? We're capable of winning our last 6 games. But we would help ourselves immensely moving forward and give ourselves at least a little cushion if we take care of business on Friday. So Friday's game's got a lot of value.
And the last time you played Augustana was an exciting double overtime game. Yeah. So they'll be looking for revenge, and you'll be looking to leapfrog them in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a big game, and like I said, we came back from 18 down in the second half and won a double overtime. Luke Martins was really good. James was really good. We're going to need the same type of effort out of these guys coming Friday night.
All right. Well, best of luck, and hopefully you can turn your home fortunes around this weekend.
It's got to start sometime, so mine is to start Friday, so thank you.
All right. We'll take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk with James Kelly right after this.
For over 60 years, Russell & Associates has been helping individual and business clients achieve what matters to them. Our trusted advisors have the expertise and experience to help with long-term plans for personal finance, business finance, or wealth management. Focus on what matters most. Call Russell & Associates Certified Public Accountants and Advisors today at 507-452-3100 or visit us online at russellcpafirm.com.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. We are brought to you by Russell & Associates and coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Lash Development Center in downtown Winona. Time now to talk to James Kelly. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to go back to your high school days because I think that this is the first time in the 400 or some shows that we've done here that we've had somebody come from a military academy.
Yes.
What is that like to go to high school in a military academy, and what are sports like at a military academy?
For me, it was a big adjustment coming from inner city and then having to move on campus, on a military academy campus. It was a huge adjustment. They were all boys there, so that was kind of a big turn for me. But with the athletics there, they gave us time. Everything was pinpoint scheduled. Everything was timely. So we had times throughout the day where it was mandatory for us to play a sport every season. So me personally, I did football, basketball, and then I did AAU in the spring. They were pretty understanding of my AAU season and stuff and letting me get off campus, but living there was a huge adjustment. It took me about 2 months to really get situated within there.
What did you learn the structure of military, and how has that kind of helped you in your life?
I feel like my biggest takeaway was making up my bed every morning. we were waking up 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, and the first thing we had to do was make our bed perfectly. So that was my biggest takeaway. But just helping me be on time, or at least try to be on time, and my everyday life, and it really did impact me a lot.
All right. You made a couple of different stops before you came here to Winona State. So how did you find Winona State after being at a couple different colleges, and what's it been like for you to be here?
I actually talked to Winona State coming out of high school, and I think it was like I was being, I forget what happened, but yeah, I talked to Winona coming out of high school. Things wasn't really looking the way I wanted it to look, so I decided to go to junior college route just to give myself some other options. I played pretty well in junior college down at Southwestern Community College in Iowa, and then after that I transferred out to University of Illinois Springfield last year. The year went okay, but I really wasn't. There were certain situations I had to get myself out of. So when I entered the portal last spring, Winona hit me up, and I was like immediately ready to take the visit.
All right. As Coach was talking about, you've seen some increased minutes lately. You got the starts this weekend. You put up a double-double this weekend. Tell us what that was like to get the start this weekend and how you've been playing.
Honestly, I didn't know I was starting at first. I was in the bathroom when he told everyone that I was starting. So like my roommate Jordan Wilkins, he kept grinning at me, and I'm like, usually he had like a blank face before the game, and he kept smiling. So I'm like, why are you smiling? So I asked him on the way up, like, what's funny? And then he was just like, Coach said you're starting. So that kind of like gave me the jitters a little bit, put a little fire under my butt a little bit.
All right, and then once you were on the court, was it just kind of business as usual?
Yeah, like once, like I feel like, well, for me personally, I kind of lose all the like itsy parts of it right as soon as the jump ball, and it's time to play.
All right, now obviously you guys have struggled at home, and as Coach said, it's a very important weekend. What are some things that you have to do to be able to help the team be successful this weekend?
Honestly, just work hard and try to take as few plays off as possible. I know when I get tired, I kind of like, you can see it in my face and my body language, so try to avoid people in the other team from seeing that and just go out there and play.
All right, do you think that there's any kind of added pressure because these are games that maybe you need in order to make the playoffs this year?
Yes and no. You know, like, there's always going to be the pressure when, you know, our postseason is on the line, but I feel like for the most part, our guys handle pressure pretty well, so as long as we just get out there and play our best version of basketball, we'll be fine.
All right. What's it been like to try to, you know, make friends, you know, at different stops along the way, because this is your third college now that you've been at. What's that kind of process been like for you?
See, my friendships, I hold on to them. I met a couple of my best friends in junior college for sure. Last year I met some really good guys, and this year I'm around a lot of really good guys, and I really enjoy being around the team. But I mean, like, we have cell phones, so we could just call. Like, I could just call one of my buddies whenever I feel like I missed somewhere. I feel like we just need to talk. I could just easily pick up the phone and call. So all of my guys are one call away, and that's something I'm really appreciative of.
All right. Well, we're glad that you're here, and congratulations on the season so far, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
All right, and we're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk women's basketball with Coach Ana Wurtz right after this.
For over 60 years, Russell & Associates has been helping individual and business clients achieve what matters to them. Our trusted advisors have the expertise and experience to help with long-term plans for personal finance, business finance, or wealth management. Focus on what matters most. Call Russell & Associates Certified Public Accountants and Advisors today at 507-452-3100 or visit us online at russellcpafirm.com.
I'm a pretty calm, cool, and collective guy, but... Sorry, what's your name? Yeah, Evan. Hi, Evan. Yeah, we have no internet. Nothing. I don't know. It just stopped working.
The internet is down.
I know, I'm on the phone with them. No, that was my wife.
I can't get online again.
Yeah, I'm talking to Evan. No, my daughter, my wife. Okay, can you guys not talk? Sorry. Yes, we have the white boxes. I see one. They got horns on them.
The one with the horns.
Yes, I see one. We have 11 of those.
I was on the phone and I got disconnected.
Okay, it's not about you. We switched our broadband service provider. Like, Devin put in 11, Evan. How are we supposed to know which one's 7 and which one?
I thought it was Devin.
Who's Devin?
I got no service. Honey, you're blocking.
You can't stand there. You're blocking it. Don't block it. And the best part, I never have to speak to Evan or Devin ever again.
I think this one's 11.
11? We're not looking for 11. No, we're looking for, are we looking for 7, Evan, or 11? We have 2 next to each other. That's bad. 2 white boxes. Evan? Evan?
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25, and we are brought to you by Russell and Associates, coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. Time now to talk women's basketball with head coach Ana Wurtz. Thanks for joining us again today. A split this weekend. So your thoughts on how the weekend went?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think it's tough to follow up with the loss.
Yeah.
I think maybe if it was in a different order, I'd be sitting in a better place.
Sure.
But obviously, really happy with the way we played against Northern on Friday night. We just executed really well. We had really incredible footwork. We really drill and talk about the footwork on the offensive end of the ball, and it helps us make us more balanced players, but also just much better decision makers.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like the decisions we made that night were really solid. So, and that resulted in less turnovers, more possessions for us, and better shot selection.
You had 4 players that were in double figures in that game, including Lauren Fetch, who had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and the scoring and being able to put some points up this weekend.
Well, it felt nice. But again, like I said, it just came down to the little details of things and being able to take care of the ball. You're going to be able to put more points on the board when the ball's in your hands. But yeah, I mean, definitely I'm really happy with the way that we played Friday. That was probably the highlight of the year so far as putting a full game together and competing on both the defense and offensive side of the floor.
All right, then unfortunately, the Minnesota State Moorhead game was a little difficult, even though it started out really well. I mean, Lauren Fetch was on
Right.
fire in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened in that game? Because it seemed like it was Lauren Fetch, and then you didn't get any scoring really from anybody else.
Yeah, you're right. I think I'm more focused on the defensive side of the
Sure.
ball there. I was watching, just got done watching some of that too again. Just some breakdowns, and I think that's the tough part of you play Friday, Saturdays, and for the most part we had talked about Northern for the previous 2 days, locking in, and then on Saturday you've got to kind of go back and remember who Moorhead does, what they do and who they are, and kind of go back to that game plan. And
Sure.
it just in general, as far as execution of that game plan, it wasn't, obviously it didn't end up as well. So on the defensive side of the ball, we had quite a few breakdowns early. I think they were hidden by the fact that Lauren Fetch was having a night.
Yeah. After her, Alex Dornfeld, 8 points and 8 rebounds. So she had a pretty good game. And then towards the end, you put in some of the bench players,
Yeah.
and they were able to get some experience on the court.
Right, they rallied. I mean, yeah they got us. They were competing, and it was fun to see them out there. I mean, they had gotten us ready all week, and I mean, really did an incredible job preparing us for Northern. So it was, in a, I guess, not a fun necessarily way when we're down, but it was awesome to see them out there and be able to get that opportunity, because they had put in a lot of work throughout the week and just got us ready to play. But yeah, they did a great job out there. It was fun to watch. It was fun to finish the game with that sort of energy level that they were bringing. I mean, yeah, you got to see, we had Shay Decken last week, but she's got the energy on the bench, but it's certainly fun to see that energy out on the basketball floor too.
Well, you talked about the rally, and they kind of closed the gap a little bit, and we're kind of thinking,
Right.
oh, maybe there's a chance for a comeback here
Yeah.
with these players. And, one of the things we talked about all season long is about how close this team is,
Mm-hmm.
and I love to see the starters cheering on the bench players that were
Yeah.
kind of closing the gap. What was your thought while you were watching that? And had they closed the gap even closer? Do you leave them on the floor?
Going through my head, but absolutely, they're the ones getting us back in the game. I kind of went through it. We got it down to about 10 or something, and then, do we keep them out there and do we substitute? But no, I mean, they're the ones that kind of got us back into that and rallied us together, and they had great energy, and that's, I mean, I'm a big proponent of having energy on the basketball floor, and that group of players in that moment definitely instilled that.
All right. At this point, do you start to look at the scoreboard a little bit, because now you're tied with Upper Iowa for 6th place in the NSIC South, and only 6 teams from the South make the playoffs.
Right.
Is that something that you kind of keep an eye on right now, or is it just keeping the focus on what the season is?
Right. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not aware of that, but I'm trying to not think about it at all. So, it's just one game at a time. Right now, we are focused on, we play Wayne on Saturday, so we're kind of going to work on them a little bit today, and then Augie. So it's just one game at a time. Obviously, knowing we still control our own destiny as far as whether or not we can get into the conference tournament. We get that. I understand that. I don't know how much of our players really get that part, but I'm not talking about it. We're going to talk about one game at a time. So.
All right, so Augustana and Wayne, as you said, this weekend at home, two teams that you lost to on the road. Right. The second time around, what are some of the things that you look for against those two teams?
Yeah, Wayne, it was taking care of the ball. They're playing an interesting style now than they had in the past. Previously this year, same thing, but just different. You have to take care of the basketball. They're going to kind of throw some random traps at you. They're kind of trying to ugly up the basketball game a bit. If you can take care of the ball and navigate that, I feel like we should do a better job of that now, knowing and expecting it from a different angle. Augie, just one of the most interesting matchups that there is in the league, because you're talking 6 foot, 6'2", across the board. I mean, they might put someone out there that's 5'10". But typically we like to play some smaller guards at times, and the matchup there is interesting to say the least. But I mean, our smaller guards tend to be pretty feisty and competitive, and they're going to need to be. It's a battle on the boards and a battle in the post typically.
All right. So, are there any lineup changes that you see having to battle a taller team out on the floor?
Yeah, there sure are. Okay. You will see, but we'll definitely put different lineups on the floor. So I think people are going to question maybe what it looks like or why, but it has nothing to do, I can reassure you, nothing to do with anything that happened this past weekend or anything. It's just that's the way our league is you've got to match up with teams, and although we might not be coming through with wins, that is a strength of our team. Is we can go small, we can match with size too, so we can go different directions. And yes, you will see completely different lineups on the floor this weekend.
All right. Well, best of luck this weekend against Augustana and Wayne.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, Paige Beasley will join us right after this.
For over 60 years, Russell & Associates has been helping individual and business clients achieve what matters to them. Our trusted advisors have the expertise and experience to help with long-term plans for personal finance, business finance, or wealth management. Focus on what matters most. Call Russell & Associates Certified Public Accountants and Advisors today at 507-452-3100 or visit us online at russellcpafirm.com.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Russell & Associates, coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. And now we're joined by Paige Beasley. Thanks for joining us here today.
Of course.
Freshman at Winona State. So the first time that we see players on this show, we want to talk about their high school days. So I want to take you back to North Branch a little bit. And you actually started playing on varsity in 8th grade.
I did.
And then starting in 9th grade. What was that like to get that kind of experience early on?
I think it was great in a lot of ways and also very difficult in a lot of ways. Just to try to have that kind of leadership mindset as a young high school player is difficult, but I think I learned a lot, and my older teammates that were on the floor helped pick me up, and I think I learned so much and grew as a person and as a player, just getting that experience.
Do you kind of have to have a different mentality as a younger person to go against players that are that much older, maybe that much bigger?
You do, because I think the most important thing is to not think about how you're younger or smaller or less experienced, because if you play like that, you're going to play scared. And basketball is not a game where you should play scared. You need to be aggressive and attack every opportunity you can. So I think the biggest thing was just to, say I'm here for a reason. I can do this. Just like confidence in myself, and I know my coach had that in me, so that helped for sure.
All right, you were a volleyball player as well, and things are going really well in your basketball and kind of volleyball career until your junior year. Tell us a little bit about what it was like to have an injury that kind of wiped out one year of your basketball career.
Sure. So I tore my ACL. I never really had a big injury like this before. And I had people telling me that, you know, I didn't tear it because, you know, I passed all the tests when they were testing it, like to see what was wrong with it. And so it really did come as a shock to me when I did find out it was torn. And losing an entire year of sports really put in perspective to me how much they meant to me in general. I think I was a different person when I wasn't in sports. I was definitely a lot more driven. I kind of treated rehab as a sport, so that's what helped me get it back, like the mentality. But it was definitely very difficult, and you know, it made me not take for granted all the times I could play basketball and volleyball.
Now, I read that at least in the basketball part of your junior season, you were there at every game, you were there at every practice, and your coach kind of let you be like a secondary coach on the team. What was that like to see the game from that perspective?
It was honestly very eye-opening. I think my high school coach and as well as my AAU coach both kind of took me under their wing and like kind of showed me how they saw the game. It was an incredible experience, and I wouldn't dream of missing any games. Of course, like I'll be there for my teammates. I mean, if that happened today, there was no way I'd miss a game. My teammates mean too much to me to not be there to cheer them on. And when I did get back to basketball, I saw a lot of things that I didn't before. And of course, I forgot some because, you know, I was excited back playing basketball, but I think basketball is a game in which like you can really slow down and focus on small details, and if you do that, you'll be a great player.
Okay. From what I understand, you kind of had a winding road to get here to Winona State, some miscommunication and that sort of thing, but you always wanted to be here. When you finally got that call from the coaching staff saying, hey, we want you to come here for a visit, what was that like to get that call?
It was like everything I had worked for to get back from my ACL injury had paid off. It's like all the rehab I put in, you know, all of the hard work, all the late nights, it's like that call just like solidified for me that I did the right thing and that I could go to my dream school and, you know, play on this team with all these amazing people. So it was one of the best experiences of my life.
All right, so I brought up all the past because now you're a freshman and you're getting some minutes. I think it's a total of 100 minutes that you played so far. What have those first 100 minutes been like in college?
I think even though it's a pretty small like number of minutes compared to like how many we've played, I think I've learned so much already. I believe that the first few minutes I stepped out on the court, I was in a bit of a whirlwind. I felt like I was running around with my head cut off, but I think now, even just one season in, I feel like when I step out on the court, I am confident in myself and I know what I'm doing. And my coaches and teammates help me with that so much.
Has there been a difference in the speed of the game and the intensity of the game from high school to college?
Completely. It's a completely different game, and that's what takes so long to adjust to. But I think now me and the other freshmen kind of have it at least figured out a little bit.
Now, we were talking to Coach Wurtz about the matchup between Augustana and Wayne State this weekend, and Augustana has some height, and at 6 foot, maybe you'll see some more minutes this weekend. We don't know, but what are you looking forward to this weekend, and what do you need to do to help this team be successful?
I think just with how we played on Friday, we all brought the energy so much, and no matter if I'm on the court or if I'm on the bench, I'm going to be the best teammate I can be. And if I do get the chance to step out on the floor, I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to battle with those taller girls, and I know I can put up a fight.
We talked about the support that the starters have shown some of the reserves this year. What's that been like to play on a team that is so tight-knit like this?
It's honestly just a breath of fresh air. You know, teams in high school are rare like that, and I don't necessarily think I had that. You know, you've had teammates that you're close with and everything, but this group is 1 through 16, like Ward says all the time. Everybody wants everybody else to succeed. Like there's no I want to play over you, I want to do this. Like there's competition, but we all wish each other so well, and I think that's just the best part about being here in general.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. And thank you for watching the Warrior Report here on HBC. We'll see you next time here on TV 25.